partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Codebreakers Live. I'm sorry we're a little bit late today. I think we're, 9 minutes late. I did have to get over here in ice and snow and very, very cold temperatures here in Middle Tennessee. So we had a little bit of a delay. When I arrived here, I stepped out. I have a truck, which is a 4-wheel drive. And the reason I got it is because of one of our first winters when we lived here. It was so bad that we ended up getting stuck at home because my car that I had was not 4-wheel drive. So when the lease was up on that car, the first thing I did was I want a truck that has 4-wheel drive. I don't care about anything else. So luckily I do have the 4-wheel drive truck. I was able to drive over here. But when I stepped out of the car, I almost fell on the ice. It's packed. It's like the snow has not had a chance to melt because the temperatures have not gone above freezing. And so we have this like packed snow that's just turned into chunks of ice. And I was just slipping and sliding all over. I almost didn't make it into the studio, but I did. I'm here and I made it. And I have lots to talk about today. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope everybody's staying warm. Anybody who was interacting with me on Twitter, X, I need to start calling it that now. You saw my post last night. So our heater broke at my house. The central heater broke before the snowstorm came through. So I've lived at my house, our house that we have. We've lived there for 5 years almost now. And we've been through some winters. We were fine with our heating. Our central heat was fine. And then this year, right before the snowstorm, it literally burst into flames. The outside unit for my central heat burst into flames. And so it's just old. I guess it's as old as the house. And so trying to replace that in the middle of a snowstorm is very difficult because many of you saw me posting about Chuck, the heater guy. Somebody in the comments, it was so funny. Somebody in the comments said the heater fixer-upper guy, because none of us knew what to call him. But his name is Chuck, and we've been waiting for Chuck to come and fix our heater, but he wasn't able to get to us. So we've been very, very cold in my house. I'm talking about last night. I looked at the temperature and it was 5 degrees. And I was jokingly saying, well, I'm grateful for the 5 degrees because at least we have some degrees. At least it's not 0 and we have 0 degrees. So thank you for everybody who responded to that tweet and for praying, because the funny thing that happened is I looked down, I see the temperature is 5 degrees, and I tweeted about it on X. I posted about it on X. And I'm just sort of joking around, letting people know what's happening with us. And I was like, please pray. Everybody started praying. And I look at the temperature again, and it went up a degree to 6 degrees. And I'm like, everybody keep praying. It's working. So I do thank you so much for your advice, too. So many of you had such great advice. Certain things I hadn't thought of doing. Because, for instance, we do have a fireplace, but our fireplace is a gas fireplace. So it's got like the fake wood in it and the glass over the front. So it's, it heats, but not like a real fireplace would heat. And this is the first time I've ever had a fireplace like that. And my husband was saying, well, maybe we could just dismantle it and put real wood in there. Because I'm seriously have been so cold. We have space heaters, we have the fireplace on, we have heating pads and electric blankets, and thank God we have electricity. And of course, we bundled the doggies up, and the cat's just been staying wherever he can find a warm spot. So we are all warm and safe, but it hasn't been comfortable. So I just wanted to start first of all by just thanking all of you for praying and for cheering us up as we sat there in the cold last night. Now you see my beanie I'm wearing. I'm wearing this beanie today because, well, for one, General Flynn has released his documentary, and I do recommend everybody go and watch it. I'm so interested. I haven't seen it myself yet, so I'm so interested because, there's old footage of him and him telling his story. And I remember last year when they were filming some of it, and I was kind of around when they were filming things and following him around. And so I'm super interested in watching that. And so when I was picking a beanie to wear today, because I'm so cold, I picked my General Flynn beanie. But also, he didn't make beanies before. He only had ball caps. And I went to him and I said, listen, I don't wear baseball caps. I want a beanie. And at the next Reawaken America tour event, his son, we went over to the booth and his son was like, look, here's the beanie. So here I am wearing my General Flynn beanie, and it's keeping me warm in this very, very cold weather. Although it's warm in the studio, there's no problem here as far as warmth. Okay, so let me have a look at your comments before I go, because I've got stuff to talk about, but I want to see what you're saying because you guys are commenting. Okay, let's see. Hi, Susan. Steve Chocolante is, oh, I like Steve Chocolante. He's ministered at our network before. We've had him a number of times years back. He was just texting me the other day, actually. I don't know these, Denise. I don't know some of these other people, though, that you're talking about. And let's see what's Marilyn saying. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, Marilyn. We've got Deborah in Louisiana. Oh, Katie from Scotland again. How's it going over there in Scotland? You guys know I'm Clan Fraser on my mom's side. We are actually Scottish, and we can trace our heritage to the Clan Fraser who fought at the Battle of Culloden. So that's very interesting. Silicon Valley, blessings from Renee. Hi, Renee. Hello, John Scott. And we've got Susan from Colorado, and we've got Kim from Michigan. We're going to be doing the Reawaken America tour. The very last one will be in Michigan in June. We're super excited. It's bittersweet. I'm going to be sad that it's going to be the end of that, but also, all good things have to come to an end, and that has been a fantastic, just amazing experience for me. God has blessed me so much by allowing me to be included in that tour, and my dad to be honored the way he was. It's really been remarkable, and I have made lifelong friends through that experience, and I really needed it. God really, he's helped a lot of us through the Reawaken America tour, but he really helped me personally. Not only dealing with the grief of losing my dad, but understanding the prophecies and having a behind the scenes look at what's going on with some of these people who my dad prophesied, some of them by name. So it's been such a blessing. And we are going to be having the final Reawaken America tour event in Michigan. And you can find out information about that at Thrive Time with Clay Clark. I actually need that website. Do I have the website? Lou and Jacqueline, do I have the Thrive Time website as a link? I don't. Okay, maybe we could just stick it in the chat. One of you just type it into the chat so people can know how to get information, because I will be speaking. Hopefully Mom will join us. Maybe Charlie Jordan. We're kind of making a plan to do something special for that final event. And then after that, they're going to be all of those people, and everybody is going to be really focused on the presidential election. So that is why that's the last event, because they were thinking of doing another one. Teresa's in Phoenix, Arizona, Grace in Arkansas, Frank in Missouri. Hi, everybody. And that's just YouTube. I haven't even looked at Rumble. I'm actually thinking about moving my Rumble chat that I have over here onto the other side. Let's see. What are you guys saying, my old eyes? Nina Rocks, hello, welcome back. Deborah Orchid. Oh, there's one of my favorite people there. I am not selling t-shirts on YouTube anymore. Are we? We're not selling them on YouTube anymore. Yeah, we're not for now, but that doesn't mean we won't be. We're working on that. Oh, we've got Chicago. I bet you guys are cold in Chicago. I know if I'm cold here, you're cold in Chicago. Colorado Springs as well. Vicky loves the Reawaken America tour. Clay Clark is so anointed, and just his testimony with the prophecies. And my dad is also just so beautiful, the way that all worked out. So, how's everybody? That was the other question I had. How's everybody doing in the cold? You can tell me in the chat there. Where are you? How cold is it? Because it's been cold for me. Charlita, I know you're not cold in California the way we are here. I used to live in California, unless you're in the mountains, but I don't think you are. But hi, Charlita. You guys know Charlita. She was just interviewed here a couple weeks back. I do encourage you to go look at what Charlita's up to, because she is running for the Senate seat that Dianne Feinstein vacated. And so I do recommend having a look at what she's getting up to. Jacksonville, Florida. I know it's cold in Florida right now, I'm hearing. Texas, I know you guys are cold. I've got friends and family in Texas still. Trey Smith does have a new video, and I do recommend watching it. Go to Trey Smith and watch his new video. It is really good. I just watched it. He was texting me something this morning, but I didn't get a chance to see what it was yet. So I'll have to answer him later. Indianapolis, hockey weather. Northern Virginia. I do really like Mike Flynn. General Flynn is a friend of mine. You probably missed the beginning story of why I'm wearing the beanie. He's releasing a documentary, which I'm recommending people watch, but I am wearing the beanie because I asked for them to make this beanie because they didn't make one, and now they do. And it's cold, and I needed a beanie today, so I thought, well, I'd never worn this one, and they went and had a beanie made because I asked them to, so I should wear it. So that's what's going on. But yes, I do like Michael Flynn. He's become a good friend, him and his family. His son is around my age, and they're really, really good people. They are good, just solid Americans, good Christian people, and they are just amazing, and I do love them. And so that's coming from my own personal experience and knowing them for the last 2 years and spending time with them. Awesome people. Okay, so we have another look over here before we keep going. Quebec, I know you're cold. Oh my goodness. 50 in Colorado. Well, Massachusetts. I'm reading Rumble comments now. Massachusetts is often freezing, though. I've been there many times in the wintertime. See, you guys over there in Massachusetts and New York State and Vermont and Montana, you're probably looking at me like, what is she complaining about? But I'm not used to. I went from living in Texas, which we're in North Texas. We didn't get very much snow there, just once in a while. And then I moved to California and lived there for 13 years. And the only time you see snow in California is if you go in the mountains. And we didn't do that often. And so living in Tennessee, it's not like bad snow, but you can get bad snowstorms. We've been snowed in here a number of times, and I've lived here for 5 years now. And I've been snowed in almost, I'd say about 3 of the winters. We got snowed in where we couldn't leave our house. And again, that is why when it came time for my lease to be up on my old car, I got a 4-wheel drive truck, a Chevy, just a regular old Chevy truck, but it's 4-wheel drive. 31 right now. It is actually warming up. I was hoping. We'll see if the kids have school in the morning. That's the other thing, is they canceled school all week. But it's because the roads are so icy and the temperature just wouldn't go above freezing. So all that snow just turned to ice and you can't drive. So it's really not safe. And when you live in a place that's not used to that kind of weather, like, snow plows and salting roads, when you live in Montana or New York or places like that, then they're much more prepared than somewhere like here in Middle Tennessee, where you don't get it as often, so they don't really need to. So there's that. Now, got a couple of things I want to cover before we get to the prophecy, because I really want to play the prophecy. I really want to. I'm going to play the prophecy from February 22nd of 2014. And I have that ready for you guys. I just wanted to do a couple things before. So, Vivek. Okay, so I'm sure you guys saw what happened. Remember last week we titled this "What the Vivek"? Remember we were talking. So I'm sure you all saw that Vivek obviously stepped down from the primary, and he endorsed Donald Trump, and we're really excited about that. It was actually a really cool little moment there with Vivek. A lot of people are unsure about whether or not to trust him. And I feel that way about everybody. So either way, though, I was so happy to see him get up there and endorse Trump. And just that little moment was really cool. Like they whispered to each other. And then when he came back, he had the biggest smile on his face. And, I really hope that God can use him in some way, because I do like a lot of what Vivek's saying. I hope he's being honest. I do think he is. He has good ideas. I don't agree with him on everything. But we're never really gonna agree with anybody on everything. We do need to find a way to move forward, though. And so I'm still watching Vivek. I'm just watching. But somebody's in there saying you want a General Flynn beanie. I think you can go to his website, and I think it's just generalflynn.com. Something like that. But I think you could probably get it from there. Or if you go to a Reawaken America event, his son has a booth there, and they have a few things. DeSantis stepped down today. I saw that, and I was glad to see DeSantis do that. Yes, because we all really liked DeSantis. And look, I told you guys this last week. When it's primary season, you'll see how it goes. Like people will be spatting, and it's all politics. Do I need to know something?
Well, apparently DeSantis endorsed Trump too.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't know that. That's what my husband was telling me that as we were leaving. So he's endorsing Trump too. So I'm very happy to see the coming together. I really want to see more coming together.
That's just Nikki Haley.
No, it's just Nikki. She'll go.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about her at all. Yeah, everybody's saying he dropped out 45 minutes ago. And as I was leaving the house, my husband did show me his phone. He said, "Look, Ron DeSantis is speaking. He's dropping out of the race and endorsing Trump." So praise God, because again, like I was saying to you last week, during primary season, if you go back, a lot of you that are older than me will remember this further back. But if you just go back to 2016, just remember that one. Remember Ted Cruz. When Trump won the primary, and he was out there with the megaphone, and he had his little group of people, and he was shouting, and he was so angry, and then Trump's jet flew over his head. But afterwards, and look, I don't even know how much I trust Ted Cruz. That's not the point. But afterwards, Ted Cruz backed Donald Trump. I mean, through all those impeachment trials, he had his back. And so I don't get too worked up in these primary battles, because I know that once it's over and the people decide who they want, the other people that were kind of on the fence will jump on. And that's what you're seeing happen. So you got Vivek endorsing Trump now. You have Ron DeSantis has dropped out, and he's endorsing Trump, as he should. And so we'll see where God takes it from there. So yes, we are very happy about that. Good point there. The Trump and Cyrus, Isaiah 45. My dad actually prophesied about that. I wish I had that to play for you. I could probably post that on our socials. I will. Somebody's on Rumble here said, "I just saw President Trump here in New Hampshire last night, and we vote Tuesday. So now it's down to President Trump and Nikki Haley." Okay, so we know Nikki Haley's not getting it. She's not gonna get it. So, and there's that. Okay, so moving on, because I want to play this prophecy and I don't want to run out of time. I have a scripture verse for you today, and it's going to lead into my confession. Now, I promised you guys that I'll confess when I need to, and so I got myself into a little bit of a pickle on X this week, and it was totally unintentional. And I ended up kind of hurting someone's feelings, and I shouldn't have. And so I really want to address it quickly. But I have a scripture verse to go with it. Okay, so I don't have it for you to put up today, but it's 1 John chapter 1, verse 8 through 9, and I'll read it to you. You can pull your Bible out if you want. The New King James Version I'm using today. If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And so I'm using that scripture verse today because none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, intentionally or unintentionally. And like, for instance, this week, now you all know I got a little bit upset about the pastor who will remain nameless, who my sister's laughing in the background, who will remain nameless, who used his jet to apparently, this is the accusation, maybe it's not even true, to do disgusting things. And I was upset about that and really struggling in my heart with it. And I lashed out on social media and posted about it. I actually didn't post anything. I saw a conversation between two people talking about pastors and their private jets. And I made some comment and sort of lashed out. And I didn't realize who the people were that were talking because I didn't know who they were. And I ended up, it was this pastor who Shuttlesworth, is it Shuttlesworth? And it ends up he has a jet, but he needs his jet because he's running like multiple campuses and going like from one place to another to preach at all these different churches, and really is just doing God's work and really making a difference in the kingdom. And my comment that was just, it wasn't something I thought. I didn't think about it. I just made some stupid comment and moved on and didn't realize that I hurt someone. And I didn't mean to do that. And so I publicly apologized because my statement was public. I publicly apologized. And I said to him, look, I don't have any problem with God blessing somebody with a jet. That's not what my problem is. Because it's very democratic if you think about it. You get a big church and everybody comes together and they're like, we want to open another campus because we've got all these people over here and we need our pastor to be able to get back and forth. And if that church comes together and says, you know what, we want to put our money together to get transportation for him, however it be, because think about it. If you have to or if you have to travel a lot, or if you're transporting a whole bunch of people, it actually will end up being more cost effective to have the jet, you see. So for some people, it's necessary. And then for others, they're abusing it. And it's not fair to sort of just blanket the whole thing because it's not helping. It actually causes division. And I wasn't trying to do that. So I apologized to him. And I want to do that again now. I want to apologize to him because God blessed him. And I am not in a position to make any judgment about that. And I really wasn't trying to. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who was who. I just ranted on X. I just posted something. And that really should be a lesson to all of us. Learn from my mistake today that just because you have some thought doesn't mean you need to post it on a social media platform, because you could hurt somebody or cause a problem and you didn't even mean to. And so, anyway, we sorted it out though. I introduced myself to him finally and I apologized and we're cool now. So I know you guys are probably didn't even see it, but maybe some of you saw, but I just wanted to make it right because I felt bad afterwards. I felt convicted. And I don't think that God would have had me feel that way if I shouldn't have been. And so I just felt like I should do the right thing. I was in the wrong and I shouldn't have just lashed out on a social media platform like an idiot. And I'm sorry. And I said sorry. And so we're all good. And a lot of people were blessed by our exchange because we handled it in a Christian and a biblical way. We didn't attack each other. It didn't get ugly. I did the wrong thing. I apologized. He accepted my apology, and now we're friends. And so I said to him, God works in mysterious ways, doesn't he? So I just felt it on my conscience and my heart that I should also say it here today, that I am sorry for that. But here's the point that I was trying to get to. It's that it's not that I have a problem with God blessing. God has blessed us. We would not survive if not for God carrying us and blessing us. And so I don't have a problem with that. It's a broader issue that I have. And that is that if you look at the poverty, and I'm not talking about anywhere else in the world now, I'm talking about America, and the issues in America, we as the church, and I include myself in this, if we were doing what we were supposed to be doing, people wouldn't be so reliant on the state. People being reliant on the state and government gives the government control over them because they're housing them and they're feeding them and they're giving them everything they need. And so that gives control to the government and to the state. So what is it? And this is not one ministry or one pastor or one person I'm talking about. Like, as Christians in America, how can we come together? And I don't have the answer. And I said this to Shuttlesworth as well. I don't have the answer to this at all. It's just on my heart. Like, what more can we do so that people aren't going to the government for assistance? Because that keeps causing us to slip into socialism and communism. And maybe I'm naive and maybe I don't know enough about it, but that's what I feel. And I feel an urgency that we have a responsibility to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And in doing that, if we were doing enough, we wouldn't have this problem with the government having to provide. But maybe I just don't understand things enough. So maybe you guys can help me. And feel free to email me at codebreakers@houseofdestiny.org and let me know what you think. Okay, so now that I have that out of the way, I don't think I'm going to my Twitter today at all. I don't need to because I want you guys to see this video. How much time do we have? Okay. All right. And I'm trying to leave here before it gets dark because of the ice and driving in the ice. I'm a little bit nervous. So I don't want to go too long today. So today I want to share a prophecy with you. You're approaching me. Lou is approached. Oh, no, I know. Do I push this one? Okay. Remember, guys, I'm still learning how to drive the ship, so he's here to make sure. Jacqueline, my sister, is here. She's behind the camera as usual on the mic.
Hello.
But you can hear her. If she has anything to say, she will pipe in. I'm about to play Daddy, so
Okay.
she might. Okay, so
Oh, although they did, I did read that they said that Trump responded to DeSantis.
did he?
Yes, but I don't know what the response. They just.
What did he
I
say to
just saw in the-
DeSantis before we go to the
I
video?
just saw in the thing they said that DeSantis responded to Trump. And I don't know what the response was.
I'm reading comments
Yes,
to
no,
see
I'm
if
very
anybody's saying
curious what
something.
the response was. Because I know that's been a thing, so I'm curious to see.
Churches used to do that. No, Deborah Orchid is saying something about what I'm talking about. Churches used to do that, but they were more than happy to turn it over to the government. Now, does this go in with the whole IRS and if you're a ministry?
Oh, that makes sense.
See, that's getting into territory I don't actually know about.
Yes.
Like, my mom obviously would know. My mom
Legalities.
and dad have a ministry, had a ministry for all those years. I'm new to a lot of stuff because when my dad died, I stepped in as vice president of the ministry, but there's some of these logistics and technicalities I don't understand. And so it's been a learning process for me, like how the law works with nonprofits and how all of it works
Mom
because
knows.
well, obviously that's what I was
Yeah.
just saying is mom knows.
Yeah, no, mom.
But it's
is
new
great
to
about
me.
that.
So anyway, I have a burden for it's not to say that I don't want God to bless ministers and ministries because they need it. Like, obviously, what I'm saying is that how can we figure out a new way, especially considering all the technology we have that's being used for evil? Can we not use it for good in some way to help the American people? And that's where, like, that's my burden now. It's the American people. My husband and I were talking this morning about how much people spend on campaigns. Like millions and millions of dollars are spent on campaigns. And I understand you have to rent facilities and there's ads, but like, who listens to campaign ads anyway? I don't. Like, a campaign ad makes no difference to me. It makes no difference. So it's like they spend so much money on this when, like, isn't there a more economical way to do that? Because, and I'm saying this because of the man that approached Nikki Haley last night that was talking about the veterans, and he was saying how much money was spent on this campaign. And is it is that a waste when that could have gone to assist veterans? And the same argument is coming in with all the illegal immigration that's happening and all the stuff they're getting. And then what about our veterans? These are men who risked their lives, lost limbs, live with trauma for the rest of their lives,
The problem
lose
is that
like those, they need to be taken care of. I have such a heart for that. I have such a heart for the American people right now. And I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like as Christians, and again, this is not one denomination, not one church, or not one pastor, what can we come together just on that foundational agreement as Christians? How can we help so that people in America aren't grabbing for the government to feed them, grabbing for the government to provide them
see,
with
but they
what
want
need?
us to need them like that.
Well, of
Because
course, the government
you know
does,
that
but
there have been doctors that have found cures for cancer that have been
Yes, we
shut
know.
up, and
We know all
and
about
so it's
that.
like it's all about they just want as much money as they can possibly
It's greed, and
get
that's what
out
Dad
of
prophesied.
everything.
Dad
They
prophesied
don't
that
want to cure diseases. They don't want to solve problems. They want to make as much money as they can from the problems that exist,
and that's greed.
and that's what's happening.
Okay, so let's go to the video. Okay, it looks like Trump and DeSantis on the same team. DeSantis was rescued from the devil's camp.
I reading Donald Trump Jr. on Truth Social. He says, "Happy to see real DeSantis endorse my father and all to unite the entire GOP around him to defeat Rhino Nikki Haley.
That's
and
what's going to happen.
ultimately, crooked Joe Biden. We need the entire American First movement working together as a team
Yes,
to defeat the racial left
The
radical left in November."
wonderful. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Man, and this is what I keep
That's
saying.
good.
Somebody get Elon Musk saved. God,
no
God,
kidding.
whoever the person is you've chosen that can get through to him, now would be the time to send them. We want Elon Musk to get saved.
We do.
We want him to have an encounter with God that is like nothing anyone has ever experienced, so that he can see the truth. Because you get a mind like that
Yeah.
on God's side, we will be unstoppable.
'Cause
It
look what he's
already is so good what he's
done,
doing.
yes.
It's
What he's
already
already
so
done.
good. Like, if we could just, God, please send somebody. I don't think it would be me, but somebody, whoever
No,
you have
God
anointed.
has to go and show him through scientific means.
Maybe
Because
God will just appear to
Elon
him
Musk
himself.
is a scientific mind, and if he shows him something that way, Elon Musk will accept that in that kind of a way.
He would, yes.
He
yes.
would. So God has to do it. God has to do it.
God is going to do it. Well, maybe. But we'll see what God does. God surprises me more than anything else.
I know that's what I'm
I
saying. We've got to
swear,
just let him handle
God
Elon.
is, when you know God the way all of us sitting in this chat, the way we know God, when you have that relationship with him and you talk to him and you know him and he knows you, it's sometimes you look at the things he does and sometimes it makes me laugh. I think, my goodness, why did you do it like that? Or sometimes I get mad at him. Why did you do it like that? But anyway, let's not waffle on too long here because we're at 34 minutes and I want to play this video. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share, but what am I sharing? He showed me. Share. Oh, there it is. That's how we do it. Okay. Should be ready to go here. And then I need to open that up. There we go. Okay. Now I can go over there. And I can go full screen. And here we go. Okay. So we're going to look at... Okay, yeah. Okay, we're going to look at... this is February 22nd of 2014. This prophecy, this day of prophecy has so much in it that I don't actually ever know what to title it. I just call it That Day. So here we go with That Day. And I think it's actually a little bit... No, there we go.
My people have cried out for an answer. And this is what I have to say, says the Spirit of life. A veil has been placed upon this nation, and I did it. I did it. So that for a season my people would wonder and faith would increase. For in darkness faith grows. In despair faith grows. I did it.
Okay, so we've talked about this before. A veil has been placed upon this nation, and I did it. Now, I did look at the Babel thing, remember? And at the Tower of Babel, when they were, this is after the flood now, they were trying to build the tower to heaven, which I suspect could be a portal. I don't know for sure. But in order to stop them from doing that, God divided the languages so that the people could not communicate with each other, so that they had to abandon this project. So when I hear my dad prophesying like something like this, first of all, I'd never heard him prophesy anything like that before. It sounded like that. And it was God saying, a veil has been placed upon this nation, and I did it. I'm having a look at your comments before we keep going, just in case somebody. Okay. That day, yeah. So just, keep thinking about that, because for years I have, it was an unusual thing. God said he'd put a veil upon this nation. Because in darkness, faith grows. In despair, faith grows. Okay, so let's go.
But now my fury has ended. Hear me, for I have found a man after my own heart. I have found a man after my own heart, and he is amongst you. He is one of the brothers but singled out for presidency of the United States of America. But here, that transcription of God upon the heart of his prophet. How the gold has become dim. The stones of the sanctuary are scattered at the head of every street. The precious sons of Zion, valuable as fine gold, are now regarded as clay pots. Those who ate delicacies are desolate in the streets, and those who were brought up in royal scarlet now embrace ash heaps. Is this what I wanted?
Okay, I got to stop there again. I'm actually getting emotional, because if you look at the videos that you see around of these cities in America where people are completely just on drugs, homelessness, that's what he was seeing.
Oh, it's so awful.
That's what he was seeing, though. That wasn't happening when he was prophesying that 10 years ago. I noticed some of you are saying that was almost exactly 10 years ago. Now, my dad has that 10-year track record. He oftentimes, the prophecies will be about a 10-year, not always, but it is sort of a theme I've noticed over the years. But man, that gets me in my heart when I hear him prophesy that now. In the past, it didn't mean as much. But now when you go and you look at those videos where they show you downtown, wherever, how many different cities across America, Philadelphia, I know is one of them. And you see the people on the fentanyl, like just all over the streets, just hanging there in rags, and the homelessness. People, there's just a homelessness everywhere, and people are suffering everywhere. And this is in America. And that's what he was seeing. That's what God was showing him. So, but God, there's more to it. So let's just keep going. I got so emotional there.
My people were brighter than snow, whiter than milk. They were like sapphire in their appearance, and now they are stricken for lack of fruits in the field. The hands of once compassionate women have cooked their own children, and their children have become food for them. Your children have become food for who were once compassionate women.
Okay, I'm going to stop there quickly. And if I want to switch over to my Twitter, I want to show you guys something. I'm going to actually find it first, and then I will click it over to share it with you. Can I share more than one page at once? Okay, so I'm going to just find it quickly because I posted about this yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And I want you to see how what he just prophesied there, the hearts of once compassionate women have cooked their own children, and their children have become food for them. Your children have become food for who were once compassionate women. That was the prophecy. Okay, here it is. Now, if I want to share this to this, now am I going to lose my place on the other one? Okay, good. Okay. Now, if you look at my Twitter page here, I quoted that prophecy. What you just heard, I quoted that section of that prophecy. The hands of once compassionate women have cooked their own children. Now, if you have a look at this article here, the most popular food and drink brands in America are flavor enhancing their foods with kidney cells from human aborted fetuses and then feeding it to you. Now, if you want to see more on that, you can go to my Twitter page and have a look at it. The reason I wanted to show that to you right now is because you heard what he just prophesied 10 years ago, and nobody was talking about that. There's not anybody thought that or imagined that could be happening. But we think it's just about abortion or strange rituals, but these people have been putting in our food and our drink cells from aborted fetuses. So now when you look at that prophecy, that changes how you might have previously perceived what he was prophesying. Now I'm going to go back to the prophecy and share it and turn it on. There we go. Okay, we're back. So now, actually don't need to put a big screen. It's fine like that.
But my fury is fulfilled, says the Lord, and I have now kindled a fire in Zion. I have kindled a fire in Zion, in America, in nations throughout the earth, and my fist is about to smack down on Russia. For out of the rebellion, turn me up just a little, out of the rebellion of the Ukraine, which was seen by my prophet, shall come out of those ashes beauty. Yes. Shall come out of that sadness joy. Yes. Shall come out of those garments praise, says the Lord. I have searched for a man and a woman who would stand in the Oval Office and pray and call for the restoration of the fortunes of Zion. I have looked for a man who would pray for the restoration of the fortunes of Zion. Therefore, if you hear my heart, says the Lord, today, I will take you on a journey. I will first take you to Israel, whom they would give Jerusalem to his enemies. Why would they give half of Jerusalem away? This will not happen, says the Lord. For I will take you on a journey today into Jerusalem, where it shall be prophesied through song by my prophet what I intend doing in Jerusalem and in the United States of America at the same time, says the Lord.
Hallelujah. Man, I'm in this today.
I am restoring the fortunes of Zion. I am restoring the fortunes that were the inheritance of my people. I am restoring the fortunes of those that are elect of God and had been stolen from. You shall eat your delicacies again, and your children will no longer be your food. You shall not use them and take them out of the womb anymore, says the Lord. Watch how I change everything, for there shall be those who are in justice, and there are those who are in a strong position. I'm just hearing this now. In the highest court in the land, the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, two shall step down for the embarrassment of what shall take place. For I wish to place in the highest court in the land righteousness, and they shall attempt to put others in to endeavor, to reach their endeavors. But God says, hear me tonight. Hear me today.
Okay, I'm stopping just for a second. You hear what he said there? He said to reach their endeavors, they will try to put more. He's talking about packing the court, packing the Supreme Court. Did we not hear so much? Remember Chuck Schumer when Trump was doing the whole thing, and then through the Supreme Court, we now have had what happened with the federal law on abortion in America, giving it back to the states to decide. This was a huge step. That is what he was seeing. Now, what we haven't seen is the two stepping down from the embarrassment of what will happen. And that's still something I have watched, and I've been watching for years. But it's, man, it's quite, you see me getting emotional through this, and I can't help it, because it's just, I realize, when you go back and you watch some of these prophecies like this, it's like, oh, I saw that one. I know. No, you don't. Like, if you go back and you watch these again, and then you realize the depth of this, you understand that this truly came from God through my dad. No human being is able to figure that it's impossible for my dad to have tried to guess or figure it out, or maybe sort of lightly prophesy. Like, God was deeply ingrained in this. And so anyway, I wanted to stop there to just make sure not to forget that that's what they've been trying to do, is pack the court to reach their endeavors. You heard him say it. Let's keep going.
I have this whole thing planned out according to my will. For it is now time for me to restore the fortunes of Zion, the fortunes to those that had it once. You are going to get it back. This is my promise, says the Lord of hosts. Give him a shout.
I'm just going to pause it there for a second, because they go into a little bit of worship, which is actually so beautiful. I might just let just a little bit of it play, because it is so beautiful what she's singing. Just, we don't have time today to because it's quite long. Let's see if she's still singing. I think. Give me 1 second here. Thank you for being patient, everybody. Yeah, Hannah is so anointed. So beautiful what she sings here. Let's just, maybe we just see where it is here and let it play from here.
Waiting for your
Here we go.
This man has stood in Jerusalem. This man that I saw in the vision, the man that came out of a vision, please hear me.
Here we go.
I was standing in my garden, and suddenly the Spirit came and removed from my eyes scales. I was praying for America, and I was praying for Israel. Nothing unusual. And suddenly behind me, starting behind my back, going in the form of an arrow, were hundreds of thousands of people. And I turned around, and I was stunned at what I saw. This was not just a mere dream, but this was a vision. And so I raised my hand like this, and every one of them raised their hands. I looked back, and they were doing the same thing. I shouted, And they all shouted. They were one. They were one. One party. One party of people. It continued until I realized that the unity of these, amongst them stood one that God had set aside to be the leader of this nation. I said, why am I hearing this so soon? Surely you would show me a little bit of it closer to the time. And the Spirit of God said to me, this man has a humble stature, but he is a genius. And then I heard gold. I wasn't sure if this was attached to his name, but he said to me, he will restore the fortunes in this nation because of his brilliance. I couldn't quite see his face because that was not allowed, because there was a mist that covered all the people and he was amongst them. And the Spirit of God made me look at him, and he said, this man will throttle the enemies of Israel. This man will throttle the enemies of the West.
Okay, I'm just stopping for a second because I saw here, I hope I didn't lose your comment here. Donna Walker, you said because he knew Kim wouldn't be here on earth. That is so true. I'm so glad you noticed that. I thought the exact same thing. My dad asks God. He's in the middle of prophesying there, and he asks God, why aren't you showing this to me a little bit closer to the time? Like, I don't know why you're showing this to me now. And that's because God knew that my dad wouldn't be there. And that actually happened quite a few times when my dad was prophesying. And of course, in the moment, we didn't notice. And I don't know how much he knew, because he would never have told us anything about anything. He would never have said anything to us that might frighten us or think he would. And I don't know how much he knew, but I know it came out sometimes in prophecy. It was, I remember the one where he prophesied about when Billy Graham and Oral Roberts and this prophet, and he pointed to himself, die, a veil will be rent. So then that goes back to the beginning when we started earlier. Remember, God said a veil will be placed upon this nation, and I did it. And then my dad later on, and I wish I could find that for you now, but I will. He prophesied that Billy Graham, Oral Roberts, and this prophet, when they die, a veil will be rent. So that's an interesting point to hold on to with that. The other time that this happened was in the 2027 prophecy. We put that up on Prophetic Rewind a few weeks back. You'll notice in that prophet, if you haven't seen that, and I know a lot of you have, so I can talk about it, but he says he's seeing the year 2027, and he's seeing these things, and he says, and he looked almost like nervous, I want to say, or worried. And he said, where will I be? And the children that you gave to me to take care of, meaning my 5 adopted brothers and sisters who are all special needs children. My mom and dad adopted from China when we were doing our missions work in China, when China had the one-child law. There were a lot of little girls, especially special needs children that needed homes, that were just packing up those orphanages when China had that law. So anyway, let's keep going because we don't want to run out of time. I want to get as much of this today as I can.
And there are highly embarrassing moments that are about to occur for many, many politicians in this nation. There'll be a shaking amongst the Democrats in the upcoming elections, but unsettling for the Republicans.
He was talking about 2016 election.
Why is God doing this? For God said, I am dissatisfied with what emerges from both parties.
Is there a uniparty?
And then there is a nation he showed me and took me.
Here it is.
Itching for a new kind of war with America.
New kind of war with America. What are we in right now? Is this not the newest kind of war we've ever seen? We have this technology. The war on the mind of the people is like nothing we've ever seen in history, because there's propaganda, but propaganda was limited to paper and time and mail. Like, we don't have that limit anymore. And what we see with propaganda as a war tactic is never been used in the world before, ever in the history of the world that we know of. And so when my dad was seeing there is a nation itching for a new kind of war with America, I think that's what we're witnessing now. And I think that nation is China.
They will shout, impeach, impeach, they say.
We know about this.
But nay. This nation shall come very subtly, but he shall not come in the time of President Obama. They shall come when this new one arises, my David, that I have set aside for this nation. A man of prayer, but God says, I have set him aside.
Okay.
They will
So now God says, I have set him aside. Now, Trey Smith noticed something about that prophecy that I never noticed. It was Trey Smith that noticed it. He said, I have set him aside. And Trey Smith believes that that is this time period between his presidencies. So he had the 2016 election. We know what happened in 2020. Now we've got 2024 coming up. Trey Smith believes that when my dad was seeing him being set aside, that it was for this time period in between the presidencies. Just wanted to put that note in there because I that didn't even occur to me until Trey Smith noticed it. So
shout, impeach, impeach.
And we've seen the
But this shall not
impeachment
happen.
for all of that.
And then God says, highly embarrassing moments when another Snowden arises.
Okay, do we think that the other Snowden is Julian Assange? Who else thinks that? I'm not sure. So, because I've even looked at what's his name? Overstock.com. Patrick Byrne. Patrick Byrne is actually a friend of mine, not close friend, but we know each other pretty well. Like, I can joke around with Patrick when I see him. I wondered if it was him because if you go and follow him, he's the guy that that started and used to have Overstock.com. He sold it. And if you follow him and his social media, you'll be able to see how involved he was with a lot of things. And he's blown the whistle on a lot of stuff. So I didn't know if it was him or not, but I do kind of feel like, is it Assange? Is Julian Assange the other Snowden? So there's that. Let's keep going.
And people will become very afraid. They'll say, we have no protection. And then God says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with the strength of your men's legs? Ha! I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. And God said, you have been humbled. And yet some more. And then you shall hear the sounds of great victory.
Okay, gotta stop there again. He said you'll be humbled and then some more. Okay, so I am of the opinion at this stage that this presidency right now is that time of humbling and then some more. And I'm saying that because it has taken these 4 years where I've said to people that, a lot of people have had the Trump derangement syndrome and they hate him for no reason, or maybe they have a reason or whatever. What we've found is that's changing, and it only is changing because the effects of what is going on are actually touching people's lives enough. And that needed to happen. Enough Americans actually had to have it touch them in some way, touch their lives in some way. And I'm talking about negatively, for them to wake up and say, hang on a minute. And how many people are you seeing out there saying, I hated Donald Trump, I'm voting for him this time because we got to fix this. And I mean, even Rappaport, that actor, remember he would go on, Michael Rappaport, I think, he would go on and on and on about how much he hated Donald Trump. And then just recently he came out with a video and he said, I hate to say it, vote Trump. We can't do this anymore. So when my dad was talking about this humbling and then some more, I feel like that's part of it. But that's where I'm getting into us as the church not any one church or one ministry, but us as the Christians in America are also going through that humbling, and the exposing that's happening in leadership is also happening in the church. And I think it should be happening there first, because I feel like we have a responsibility that we're not meeting. And that's why I had my little outburst on Twitter and got into my little thing accidentally there. And poor JD, what's his name? Shuttlesworth. I hurt his feelings, and I mean, I'm sure he doesn't care that much, but I didn't mean to hurt anybody, and I wasn't actually attacking him. Someone's saying Seth Rich. Now, it could be Seth Rich because of what happened with Seth Rich. So, and someone else also, I'm talking about the other Snowden part, in case anyone's confused, or James O'Keefe. That was a good point too. But it's like I've said before, when a prophecy is fulfilled, it shouldn't be too hard to figure it out. It should be obvious. So for me at this stage, I'm still waiting on to see what. So we actually are going to make it through this prophecy. That's great. Okay, let's go.
For where are the people gathered? Where are my people gathered? Where is the sound of unity from my people? I want just this crowd here and all the thousands watching all over the world. Just do me a favor. Just for about 30 seconds, raise up your voice and shout. Come on! For they are saying, how do we kill the giant? How do we kill the giant of death? How do we kill the giant of socialism? How do we kill the giant of human secularism? I have placed that man amongst you. Take all these little remarks I'm giving you. They are gems. The name and the word gold. Remember that. And God says, these that shall reject him shall be shocked at how he takes the giant down. Now hear me please. The giant of death, the giants that have come, the brothers of Goliath, stand in glee watching America. We will cripple you. You will lose your credit. But God said, watch. I said 20,000.
Okay. Now, I just want to point out and just remind everybody that the stock market broke a record and hit 20,000 right after Donald Trump was elected. So just in 2016. So just I think it actually happened in 2017 once he was president, but you guys remember that. That's what he prophesied that was fulfilled after Donald Trump became president the first time.
Look not to Wall Street, however, observe. And they shall say, what is your plan for this giant? And he will take a simple stone. Remember the name. And he will hold it up and they will laugh at him. But the plan is so brilliant, says the Lord. It could only have been given by me.
Now, isn't it interesting how he talks about the plan? Because if you guys remember, or if anybody's been following anything about Q, what do they talk about the whole time? There's this big plan. Follow the plan. Trust the plan. The plan. Now, I don't really trust that whole Q thing. I was never able to really follow it. I don't know what exactly to think about it, but I find it interesting that the phrase they were using is trust the plan, right? And what I hear my dad saying here is that God has a plan that is going to shock everybody. He uses the phrase stone, but he's saying, remember the name. Now, what all of you need to realize and understand, I posted about this recently. If not for Roger Stone, Donald Trump would not have run for president. Can I say that again? If it were not for Roger Stone, Donald Trump would not have run for president, which means Hillary Clinton would have become president in 2016, and we would be living in a whole different world right now. God intervened with a man that he could use, like a Cyrus, and that simple stone that had been there for decades behind the scenes, serving under president after president under president, who knows exactly what goes on behind the scenes there. That man got saved. Of all the people to get saved, he gets saved, and he's the one that gets Donald Trump to run for office. So when you look at a prophecy like that stone prophecy, and you understand now that we're in hindsight, we can look back the depth of it and what it meant, because he was very specific about remembering the name. He wasn't just making a general statement about a stone, or it was sort of, he was very specific about the name. So I wanted to make sure to comment there so you can understand that how important Roger Stone's role has been in this, behind the scenes, and things that you wouldn't know. And, God did a remarkable thing in his life. I mean, he was radically saved. His wife was healed of stage 4 cancer. And Roger and Mrs. Stone they're just great people too. I just love them. Anyway, so I'm so honored that, my dad prophesied about them, and then I got to be friends with them. That's cool.
Come on! California, you are dying because of a drought. Watch my sign. Watch the sign of rain. For I told you there would be severe wind from above. And all the states that are affected by this severe weather have been set up.
Yes.
For a shaking of my spirit,
yes,
and an outpouring of my spirit. But California, I'm looking at you. Gold, stone, California, a smaller statue. And God says, once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray. For the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House.
Ooh.
Did anybody hear what he just said? For Jezebel has chased away the prophets and even Elijah. Come on. Now I have said, go back. For this shall be dismantled, so that there will be no more corruption in the White House, says the Spirit.
Ooh. Man, that is intense. Wow. That is intense. That was intense. Every time I watch, if I sit there and watch that prophecy through, I will cry, I will laugh, I will jump and shout, I will rejoice. But I want you to all feel hopeful today, because everything in there shows us overcoming. The scales removed from eyes, the one party. They were one party of people, the MAGA movement. Now, even in 2015 and 16, we didn't know what that was. We didn't understand what that meant. My dad certainly didn't. He may have understood to a measure, but there was, there's no way he could have even we couldn't, and we were alive experiencing it. But we can look back now at some of the stuff, and there is hope, so much hope. And the biggest thing that I can give you is a hope of absolute victory. That God has a plan. It's God's plan. He's actually in control here, and I'm really witness to that. God is in control here with some of the insanity that has happened. What is being exposed, what needs to be exposed is being exposed. And that's happening everywhere. I see people talking about Michelle Obama running. I just pray that doesn't happen. That's all I have to say about that. I'm praying. Because the thing is that was the thing with Roger Stone, is he kept saying, he's been saying it for over a year now. They're going to try to put Michelle Obama in. And I keep thinking, oh, that would be such a nightmare if they did that. as far as the election. But I do believe the witch that he was referring to, Don didn't. I can't say your name. I'm going to show you your comment. Said that witch lost, and we know who that is, and that was 2016. So you can see that this prophecy it's more than just about the 2016 election. Like you can see, there's like a timeline, but it's not exactly in time because he's seeing glimpses of things that were going to be happening, but they're all connected. So we do know we need to be looking for, okay, watch the Supreme Court, what's going on there. That's very important. Watch who's being exposed and really pray about that. And also we need to remember that we're Christians and we want a lot of these people to get saved. We want them to get saved. We want them, we're trying to bring people over onto our side and get them away from these globalist lunatics at the World Economic Forum, because that was the other thing. And I almost was going to play this other prophecy, but I don't have time. So I'm glad I didn't, where my dad prophesied, and I played it for you before, but I wanted to look again at him prophesying about the rise and fall of the Fourth Reich. So I think maybe next week, because we did get through this today, maybe next week we can do that one. Because I'm feeling like this is what I'm doing now. In 2024, Prophetic Rewind, which is the broadcast that I put up every Monday of footage of my dad. I have 40 years of it. So I pray about it. I find the right thing to share, and I put that up every Monday. I've been doing it for years. But this year, I think it's really important for all of us as warriors, as prophetic warriors, to really study and understand the prophetic as much as possible. And so my dad did a lot of teaching. And when you have a prophet who's in the office of the prophet, teaching about it, helping you understand it, there's no better source. And so do watch Prophetic Rewind. Now, the last 2 weeks, I had gone back to 2010 and found my dad doing teaching on temptation. And I think that's a really, really good topic for us to be starting off with. Is temptation is sort of foundational to all the other stuff that happens. We're tempted to do this, that, and the next thing. So he did sort of an in-depth teaching over a 3 or 4 week period. So we put those together on Prophetic Rewind. And we've called it Temptation Part 1, 2, and now tomorrow we will have Part 3 up. We just finished editing that one and putting it together. Fourth Reich, Nazis. Yes, Cindy, you're right. So and it's interesting too, because he's prophesying about a Fourth Reich, but he also when he was prophesying, he was saying how it never really went away. And that is kind of what we're seeing, is that a lot of Nazi techniques were being used within intelligence agencies and governments and things like that. No, my mom did not do current events this week because of the snow. She couldn't get there. So Doobie and Christy Desfontaine, who they run our Israel Update channel, they did a special for us because we've been getting updates from Israel, and Doobie's right there on the ground in Israel. And so because mom couldn't make it, and because it's so urgent, and we had a lot for them to share, they did current events yesterday. And I do encourage you to go watch it, please, 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 because Christy really understands a lot about Israel, not only the government, but about Jewish history. She used to be a Holocaust museum, what's it called? A tour guide. So anyway, she's very, very, I mean, she's such an anointed speaker as well, and a musician too. My dad had, she used to tour with my dad and open for my dad sometimes musically. She was in a group called the Arrows, and she played the drums. Anyway, Christy Desfontaine hosted current events with Doobie Sabo yesterday. So if you 100 days since the war, 100 days after. Okay, so it's called 100 Days After, and they did a really amazing job of covering Israel and the war and Gaza and what's happening over there. And these are people who know what they're talking about. So if you haven't seen it, go to the House of Destiny Network and watch it. You can go to houseofdestiny.tv, and I do believe I have. Do I have it? I do have it. I have to find it. I have a little list here. Here it is. Put that up. That's how you find it. So go to houseofdestiny.tv. Now, we post these on our social media sites as well. Rumble, you guys, you are awesome, and we're doing great over there. We're growing on Rumble, and that is a safe place as well as X for right now. But if you're watching on YouTube, look, I just got into trouble this past week again. I keep getting YouTube is probably not going to let us stay up much longer. So if you see us disappear from YouTube, it's probably because of me or my dad. And you can still find us on Rumble and on X. But I encourage you to go over to the House of Destiny website, which just the regular website is. You can either do houseofdestiny.org or kimclement.com. Either way, it's going to take you to the same page. But go over there and just sign up for our emails, so that if we do lose social media platforms or anything happens that we get censored, anything like that, we can still reach you and you know how to find us and you can still reach us. So I'm actually just looking for the website. I can't find it. Or you can go here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, houseofdestiny.org, that's our network. Mondays, Prophetic Rewind, I just told you about. Tuesdays, Real Life, Real Faith. Wednesdays, we have a midweek church service with Pastor Fa. Thursdays, Charlie Jordan, my dad's bass player. And I mean, man, there's so much more than just being a bass player. He is so prophetic. And he prophesied with my dad. Every time you see my dad prophesying, Charlie Jordan was right there with him for a really long time, many, many, many years, 17, almost 20 years. So Charlie has a new show on our network every Thursday called Prophetic Perspectives. Do I have it in my list yet? There it is. So if you want to watch that on Thursdays, you can go to that link, or just go to the House of Destiny Network. Go to kimclement.com too. It'll take you all there. We've made it as easy as possible. And we're doing all of this because we want to make sure if we get censored and I really feel like this year, we're going to have to deal with a lot more censorship going into an election. People are getting desperate out there. We may disappear. So do join us. And you can also email us. There's an email address. If you have prayer requests, if you need anything, feel free to email us. There's a ministry team here that are really anointed and have spent time not only with Kim Clement, but in their own ministries and churches, and really can help you. And so we're there for you. Also, if there's anything you want to share with me, you can email me at codebreakers@houseofdestiny.org right there at the bottom of the screen. If you want to follow me, I'm at Donna Petro, but I actually have a picture for this. Isn't it pretty? I love that pink. That's why I'm going to take that off. So if you want to follow me on X, that is where I am active. And so I encourage you to do that. If you use X, you can also follow my mother. Let's find her on Telegram. And I know she was posting last night on there. Mom posts on Telegram, and that's what she uses. So if you are on Telegram, or even if you're not, go on Telegram and find my mom, and you'll get all the news she's sharing, which is very interesting. Another thing, we have released a new book, Prophetic Revelations, a collection of letters from the pen of Kim Clement. Some beautiful, beautiful things my dad wrote. Let me tell you something. He was he wasn't just an amazing musician. He was a really good writer and so poetic. And, when he was, he would pray and then he would write these beautiful things. And so we gathered them together and put them in a book. And you can either use the QR code, or you can go to our website, and there's a little shop in there and you can buy the book there. But if you give a donation of $25 or more, you're going to get the book anyway. So if you feel led to give a donation and support the House of Destiny, we will send you that book. But that only happens through the website. So do go to the House of Destiny website. Go to kimclement.com or houseofdestiny.org. You're going to land on the same website. Go to the shop and you'll find it there. And the option will be there for you to make that donation and get the book that way. We also have the Daily Light devotional. Wait, I'm using the wrong thing here. I'm in the wrong place. Still learning how to drive this ship. I'm getting better though, aren't I? So let's hide that. And then this is what I wanted you to show. This is older. We've had this for a few years, but it's still there. Also, if you give a donation, I think it was of any amount on this one, you can get this. It is a devotional. My dad used to write an email every day, and it went out to all the people on his staff that work for the ministry, and then ministry friends and family, including me and all his kids. And so a lot of people got these, and they really blessed us. And it was every day he would send them. They were called the Daily Lights. And so we put together a 31-day devotional with those in them. And it's such a blessing. So I encourage you to have a look at that. And that's some stuff we have available for you. No, we don't have T-shirts and stuff right now, but we will be working on that a little bit more. We just don't have too much of a demand for it, and we've never really been a ministry who did much with merch. You know, my dad had his albums, music albums, and books, but he never really did too much with. We've never really done that too much. Oh yes, of course. So if you did want to get any music of my dad's, you can go on Amazon or iTunes and search Kim Clement. You're going to find that that'll be available there. That's the best way to get that stuff too. So let me see. Reawaken. I want to make sure I don't forget anything before I go today. The Reawaken, I did talk about it earlier. The Reawaken America tour is going to be in Michigan this year. Did we ever find the website? Okay, so it is in the comments, and maybe just stick it in the description too afterwards. The website, Thrive Time. I think it's Thrive Time Show. I always mess it up. And then you have to click Reawaken America Tour, but you'll see it there. And you can also go to Clay Clark's Rumble channel, which is, I think, also called Thrive Time, and you'll get updates from there. But it's the beginning of June. We're going to be in Michigan, which is amazing because Michigan is where my dad prophesied 9/11 from. He spent a lot of years working really in Michigan, in Dearborn, Michigan in particular. And those locations are very important. So oftentimes not just what he prophesied, but where was he when he was prophesying? Like, for instance, he prophesied about Trump having 2 terms, and he was in Maricopa County when he prophesied that. And he prophesied that in 2007. So think about how amazing God is, right? Okay, so that's a Reawaken update. I am going to be there. Hopefully, Mom. I'm wanting to bring Charlie and Christy. We're trying to arrange it because it's going to be like the last Reawaken America tour. If you haven't been to one and you can get there, I encourage you to come. I love going. I spend a lot of time just walking around and talking to people. I don't hide backstage. I'm one of those. I'm right in the middle, and meeting people's dogs and doing interviews, and it's been such a blessing to meet so many people, because for a while there, for a few years there, we were just kind of cut off, and my dad had died, and COVID happened, and all that, and you know, our only interaction was really through this medium, through the internet. So to actually go to the event and be able to touch some of you and pray with you and meet you and hear your stories about how my dad prophesied over you or your family member and how it came to pass and how much he blessed you, those things helped me to heal so much of a lot of grief and pain I was holding on to, even after years had passed, that I was able to go and do that. And again, this has been such a blessing. So if you can make it to Michigan, I do hope you can. And I would love to have a chance to meet you and talk to you if you can make it there, because I will be there. And hopefully we can get Mom. I think Mom will go to this one. Let me see. I'm just looking at your comments. Make sure I'm not missing anything important. There we go. thrivetimeshow.com/Reawaken America Tour. So you'll see that in the chat, and we'll put that in the description as well. I will be there, possibly Mom too. Okay, a couple other things. We have a sponsorship with MyPillow. Do we have any graphics though? No graphics. They haven't sent our new graphics since Christmas. But if you are going to be shopping for towels or bed sheets or pillows or slippers or dog beds or all those kinds of things, do go to mypillow.com. Fox News has just canceled him. Can you believe they've canceled it? After all those years, it's just unbelievable. But we are sponsored by MyPillow, and if you use the what's it called? The promo code. I can't remember. Promo code. If you use the promo code Kim Clement, just all one word, my dad's name, you will get a really, really big discount. Much better than you'd get at Target or Bed Bath & Beyond. So I do encourage you to go to MyPillow and use the promo code Kim Clement for a very big discount and help support Mike Lindell, because he's been through a rough time and he's a really good man. That's a good person. He is a good person. I've met him finally. I did actually get to meet him finally in Tulare, California, and I introduced myself properly this time, because for any of you who don't know, the first time I met him, he had no idea who I was. I was backstage at the Reawaken America tour. He stepped onto the backstage and I just turned around and there he was, and I just grabbed him and I said, Mike Lindell, and he had no idea who I was, and he's looking at me like, who's this crazy lady? So I know, and then I was so embarrassed, I didn't know what to do, and I started straightening his jacket and like, oh, it's so nice to meet you, Mr. Lindell, and I'm straightening his suit jacket and he's looking at me like, who's this lady? So anyway, I finally got to meet him, and that was lovely, and he's such a good person. So do go over there if you're going to be shopping for those things anyway. Do support Mike Lindell and use Kim Clement as a promo code, and you'll get a big discount too. And can't forget about Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Now I'm going to pull that. Do we have it? Yeah. I'm going to pull that up for you so you can see the website. Lou's going to have to come over here and help me because I can't see anything. Oh, is that at the top? That's why I went to the bottom. Ah, there it is. There we go. Okay, so if you go to Beverly Hills Precious Metals, that's bh-pm.com. I know Andrew Sorcini personally, and he's awesome. And he's one of those like economic people. That's not the right thing to say. Look, I'm terrible with money and economics. I just, my brain doesn't work that way, and his does. And he's really, really good at what he does. And he's a Christian. He's a born again, spirit-filled Christian. And he's sort of a quiet man, and we've had him interviewed here on the network before. I mean, he's a great guy, and you can trust him. And so if you're thinking about, you're looking at the economy, you don't know what to do, go over there and talk to him, because he might be able to help you. They do all sorts of things. I think they can take some of your 401k and turn it into gold for you, but they really will be able to help you. And again, just tell them Kim Clement sent you, or the House of Destiny sent you, and you will get a discount as well. There is a promo code for them too, and they will take care of you over there. So anybody who might be thinking about those things, I'm not very good about it. I can't give you any advice, but I can tell you I trust Andrew Sorcini at Beverly Hills Precious Metals. So go over there. There's the website. And I did it all. I didn't forget anything. Okay. So I just want to apologize one more time to Pastor J.D. Shuttleworth. God is using you greatly in your ministry. And I actually went and had a look at what you're doing. And God bless you for what you're doing. You're a hardworking man, and you're anointed, and God is using you greatly. And my stupid comment on X means nothing. And you know what? If that's how God wanted us to meet, then that's fine with me. And again, I apologize profusely for inadvertently including you in my stupid rant, because I didn't get my point across, and all failed in that regard. And so let us all learn from Donna's mistakes. But it's cold, and I'm going to have to go get in the car and drive, and now the sun's going down, so I have to go. But I do love all of you. I will be back here next week with more information. Let's see what happens this week now that we know that DeSantis has stepped down, Vivek has stepped down, and they are both endorsing Trump. Things are going just swimmingly, and we're all very excited. So I thank you for joining me again today. Jacqueline and Lou, thanks so much. And everybody, I see you in the chat there. I love all of you. Thank you for praying for me for my heater. It is still broken, but Chuck, the fixer-upper guy, is going to come fix my heater. So yay. Hopefully we'll be warm tonight or tomorrow. Well, that's the question.
He could. The heater broke the day of the freeze.
This is typical. But this is typical, and I know that Jacqueline can be a testament to this. This is typical of our family, and in any prophetic ministry, you'll have these sort of strange things that will happen around the family, and it's so typical that I never use the heat. I'm not big into central heat because it's so dry. So I only use it when I have to. And like I'll put it on for a little while to warm the house up, then I turn it off. I hardly use the thing. Then 2 days before that snowstorm,
the day of the freeze.
No, it was the day before. it stopped working. Chuck comes to check it, and it exploded and burst into flames. So there was no using it. He had to shut everything down for our safety. So we've been relying
And then
on.
he couldn't come and
No,
do it.
and then he couldn't get
because
back.
it was frozen. Everything was frozen.
He
It was
couldn't.
like
He couldn't get back to us to fix anything. So because everything was frozen, but we have survived with heating pads, electric blankets, fireplace that's not a real fireplace. It's one of those gas fireplaces with glass over it. So it warms, but not well, not like a real one. And space heaters. And so do pray that we stay warm. We
Space
have
heaters in
survived
small
so far.
spaces.
And we have, of course, we have the cat and the 2 dogs and the 2 children. It's not like it's just me in there. So we're all huddled up together. But at least it's something exciting and different, and I'm sure we'll be all right. So I do again thank you for your prayers, though. So many people prayed when I posted about it on Twitter. I love you guys. So yes, okay, we're done. I will see everybody next week. Come show me which one. Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, I love you all. I'm praying for you.
The House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you. And then by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.
And we listen. We've taken your suggestions and we've made our already amazing Percale bed sheets even better. As a thank you, we're bringing these to you for as low as $24.98 with your promo code. And our new line of Percale bed sheets include everything you loved about our original sheets. Lightweight, durable, breathable, and they sleep cool and crisp. But now, because of you, they're made with 100% long staple cotton and the highest thread count to date. These sheets are softer and more durable than ever before. Plus, they come in all these new colors and styles. And you'll be getting 5-star luxury sheets delivered directly to your front door for as low as $24.98. Not only that, they come with our 10-year warranty and the 60-day money-back guarantee. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen now. Use your promo code to save 50% or more. That's as low as $24.98. This introductory offer won't last long, so